Good evening, good evening, good evening. Oh, there goes the monetization straight away before we even got anywhere. Welcome to the Plastic Crack podcast on Monday evening, Series 3, episode 41. Ken's not happy. Ken's not happy.
It's made my day.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us as always. Thanks for everyone watching on the catch up. I get that in really, really early. So with me today, it's a full house again tonight. Look at this. So above me there is Ken, Miniature Wargames Warriors. Hi Ken, how you doing, mate?
The one who looked.
Yeah, I was fine until Martin decided to make a comment. What an arsehole. No, you turned everything round as well.
I moved some of your stuff that was at the back to the front. Oh, like on Tesco
Yeah,
shelves.
but they're not even facing the right. They're not even facing the right way.
I didn't care about that.
Anyway, hi Steve. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm fine. Nothing's been moved around here. I'm centered and calm right now.
Don't invite anyone in your house, Steve. Whatever you do, Jesus Christ, give him a bed, feed him.
Awesome. And Martin, seventh son. Hi, Martin.
Hello,
mate.
Hello.
You're obviously feeling much better now.
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better. Just to for anyone watching, I went to stay at Ken's 2 weeks ago, and obviously he wasn't on the stream last week, so I decided not to break it to him. But while Ken was having a shower, I decided to go into his little room and just lightly shift around some of his stuff. That's all. Just some of it. He hasn't noticed. He's only just doing it. But there's some Normans with some bolt action. There's some bolt action with some Lord of the Rings. Probably there's some of that little stuff. I'm not entirely sure what that is. That's that because that might just go up the Hoover.
Oh dear. So Ken's a happy boy tonight. Good. So welcome everybody. Thanks for watching. Normal Monday night stupidity gets going even quicker than normal tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about technology in gaming, and I've already warned Ken. He's only allowed to talk about 3D printing once. That's it.
He didn't say for how long though.
Yeah, there is a timer. Don't worry. And then the big hook comes and pulls you off. So let's have a look at the. Oh, you're so childish. Jesus. These drugs are just... I think your drugs are really taking effect, Martin. So we got Mark in the chat, Lazy Pirate, Bicker, hi Don, Barnes White, Richard, Andrew. Oh, God, I shouldn't have started this, should I?
No, so it's always a pain, always a pain.
Oh, Benjamin, John, Red Steph, Shakers and Sprees, Morton... Oh my God, I've lost it already. It's screened throughout. Crossing Obstacles, Alex, Storm of Steel, Aussie Mozzie, String 7, Graham, hi Graham, Louis Babies here, Nick Games, Mobile and Hostile. Ooh, so is that a new name? Mobile.
No,
he's
no, quite a regular.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, mate. Sorry, Mobile. Connor's here. What is Stoic Steve? Nathan, Yorkshire Dragoon, Rich John, Alid's here. Robin's here. Robin, what are you doing?
What?
You're supposed to be on
Robin,
holiday.
you're on holiday. He's on holiday. He should be on. He is on holiday.
That's dedication right there.
I mean, when we're on holiday, we can't be bothered to come on. So why should you? Good jeez. Friends of General Haig, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my goodness. It's just scrolled back through. So I'm not going to go through it all. So welcome.
We've got Glenn from War Bases.
Congratulations, Glenn.
Congratulations.
Glenn got married at the weekend. So congratulations, mate. All the best.
Shouldn't he be locked in a hotel room somewhere?
Yeah.
Well, the pull of Monday night is far too much for some people.
Oh, I can assure you, I won't miss my Monday night after I've been married on the Saturday. Of course, I won't.
I think Laura will tell you something otherwise, Ken.
Yes, I do as well.
Not got a chance. Anyway, what have we been up to this week? What about you, Ken? What have you been doing? Anything?
Yeah.
I know what he's going to be doing next week. He's going to be go through every single model.
Yeah, I am.
I did just see a comment. Someone said, did I should have just spiked your collection with my 6mm samurai. I should have just left them there. Just left them. It took you to notice.
Yeah, so
I still love the fact that you got so excited at Warfare about that MDF 6mm, forgetting entirely how much you hated the 6mm samurais you had.
Yeah, but I didn't buy any, did I?
No, you didn't.
No,
You nearly did.
he nearly
You
did.
very nearly did, though.
He nearly did.
True.
So this week I've been painting some bolter action. Oh
Oh,
yeah!
yes.
Oh yeah!
Very nice.
Yeah. So I've done these Marines. All painted by moi from the printer. So including the bases there from the printer as well.
Is that
I
your
was
so
gonna
these-
say, I like those bases very much. Are they
they're all from the printer, yeah.
right? So they just had little holes where you put the figures in, did they, or are they? Did you have to sort of sculpt them?
No,
to get them-
no, they just had where you just put the figures on however you want. They're just 32mm bases, and I just put some mud effect, that, and some non-oil, and that was it really.
Very nice.
So,
Ken,
yeah.
what red did you use for that? The armor?
That was Mephiston red. And it's been highlighted, so I've used I layered it with Mephiston red. Sorry, so I washed it with Agrax, and then I used Mephiston red.
I prefer that deeper red with Blood Angels. I think sometimes you see them.
Well, yeah, these are meant to be for heresy. These are heresies,
Yeah.
so that's my first squad done for those. So yeah, I was real happy with that. To be fair, I like. Do you
They
know,
look really
see
cool.
the guy in the middle with the old school like chain.
Oh, the chain bayonets, yeah.
on his thing. So I was just like, that's so cool. I just love the helmets, I just really like.
Yeah.
I've got something like a Mark 6 helmet there, which was just coming out at the time, at the end of the heresy. So I put that in there as well. But the beaky's in there and everything. But yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. I'm well happy with that. Just painting up one of the Hero Quest figures as we speak at the moment. And yeah, I'm just working on, probably this week, not a lot's going to happen because I'm just working on the loft because I'm getting a carpet delivered for it.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Is that what the boards are for?
No, they were on the floor holding the loft together, but I decided to actually do it properly. And I went up there and I braced it properly. So
you sent me up there and it wasn't braced.
Yeah, it wasn't braced. That's why the floor was a bit wobbly. And then so I tested it yesterday by jumping up and down on it as hard as I could.
Oh my god!
So
Glenn's just got back to us. That's dedication.
Mini Moon.
That is absolute dedication.
That is dedication, Glenn.
Absolutely.
Wow.
God, keep showing up. Robin's tuning in from Malta on holiday. Glenn's on his bloody mini moon. Half the time, we can't even turn up on a normal day.
Yeah, dedication. The audience is way ahead of the presenters. I would say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well done, Ken. I'm very impressed. Very good to see some production there from you. What about you, Steve? What you been up to, mate?
Mostly kit bashing, but I'll show you what I've been up to. So I mentioned this last week that I hadn't even ordered this time last week, and it was a universal carrier because I like the idea of captured vehicles for my DAC project. So we're gonna have like a captured Matilda. I'm gonna be doing that because that sounds awesome. But one of the transports was a Kugelwagen. I thought, no, I think I'd rather use a universal transport. So
yeah,
I did this.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's very stripped back. There's not much stuff on it, not much stowage. There's the fender, the sand fender things, so the mud guards are missing. I just like the idea of a proper old battered carrier that the Hauptmann is using as his own personal transport. But this
so nice.
That took, I say all in, there's probably about 4 to 5 hours work in that because it was just so simple to do. And there we go. Bit of stowage in the back, so some jerry cans, a couple of rifles. But yeah, I just thought it was a nice little addition.
Yeah,
in game, it's going to count as a Kugelwagen rather than universal carrier. But I spent a lot of time last week doing some kit bashing. So with the DAT, you have your shooting squads. Now they've got 2 LMGs in it. Now I think I've mentioned once or twice that I don't like those prone figures with the LMGs. They look. Cheers, Alex. Much appreciated. It's just a great little build. It was really, really fun to do. Yep. Matilda will definitely be next.
I don't like that. Don't you just love a Matilda? I don't know what it is about a Matilda, but it's just a great little tank, isn't it?
It's just. Have you seen Travis's last battle report? His Matildas were kicking arse in that.
They were.
They really were.
They've got really good armor, haven't they, for the early war?
Yeah, they got great armor. No gun, really.
No gun. That's the problem with
it. It's a little 2-pounder, isn't it?
It was. I think they started out as machine guns, didn't they? And then they went to upgraded to a 2-pounder. But yeah,
like Travis demonstrated, though, when you put the howitzer on it, it's not going to damage anything, but it's going to throw out pins left, right, and center, so you can pin enemy vehicles into submission. So I needed to build 2 LMG gunners because I don't like those prone ones. So this was an hour's work to do these. I'm really, really chuffed with them.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. That's the MG. That's the 34, isn't it, Steve, as well?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because my DAC is set in 41, so they're still using the 34s. But the guy on the right, that's actually from the Opel Blitz truck. So you get a bunch of crew, passengers, and one of them is holding an MG34. So I just attached it to an arm from the DAC one, and the other ones are just.
Oh yeah, it's a good shout.
The guy on the left, he's holding an ammunition box. I might be able to show you a better picture here. Well, no, clearly not. So all I did was, he was initially carrying I think it might have been a mortar shell. So I just cut the mortar shell off, filed his hand flat, and then glued it onto an empty ammunition box. So it looks like he's holding it. Really, really simple. The MG34 itself came from the Blitzkrieg box. And yeah, an hour's work, a bit of fiddling around, and yeah, they were done. Sorted. So they were good, nice. but then I made a random purchase last week, and it's these. So it's Wargames Atlantic Partisans.
Oh yeah,
nice.
French Resistance ones. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic figures. They're sculpt. I've not really had much experience with Wargames Atlantic figures. I won those late Romans at Crackpot, but I've not really looked at them. But these,
I got to send you that stuff. I forgot. I've actually got it. It's up here behind me. I just haven't.
All right, brilliant. So pick these up now. Like I said, these are brilliant. I'm going to be making a video about this because it's something that needs to be. If you're a bolt action player and you want to play Partisans, the sprue. Cheers, thank you. The sprue only comes with 2 rifles. And the rest are SMGs. So you got MP40s, Stens, grease guns. Now, if you're planning to run them in bolt action, they have quite large squads, but the majority you can only take 3 SMGs per squad. Yeah. So you're a bit goosed if you want to use them. So I thought, right, what can I do to increase my rifles? So I just dug out some bolt action bits and pieces. I look at these.
Oh, very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, ones.
Very nice.
They are from those arms. Apart from the guy who's sort of saying, calm down. All those arms with the Garans are from the plastic USMC box.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
Oh no, sorry, not the USMC. The plastic airborne box. Beg your pardon. They fit really well, and the good thing is they've got civilian-looking cuffs, so they fit in really well with the aesthetics of the jackets. But I think it just goes to show what you can do. I mean, I really like those.
Yeah.
I really like them.
I remember Stuart Mac, because he was playing 0200 with me at CrackCon, and he wanted to use Partisans, and one of the options was the sniper rifles. Now, because he had the base game, the other Wargames Atlantic kits swap in a bit like you just perfectly as well, because he used the sniper rifle, the rifle off of the SAS, and just pop that in as well. But yeah, he found the same lack of rifles.
Yeah, it is. And so I thought, no, I'm pretty sure the ball. I didn't know where they were going to size, but they do. They size really well. So just going back to this one. So the guy second from the left, that's actually a rifle from the British infantry box. So all I did was to make it match the arm that's actually from the Wargames Atlantic box. Just cut the button off the cuff, and they fit really well. My favorite though, my favorite is this, because Warlord Games do a metal Piat team. So I thought, no,
they do.
I'm gonna make one instead.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
And cheers, Andy. I mean, they go together really well, and all 4 arms there are from the British and Canadian infantry box.
Oh, the Canadian infantry.
No, it's the infantry. And the only change I had to do was I had to snip the bayonet off the rifle. But apart from that, I was amazed at just how well they fit together.
That's awesome.
So I've managed to increase my rifle size just by going through bits that I've got lying around. So I'm going to once I've painted a few up, because I wasn't planning on doing partisans till next year, but Rich kicked my ass with them at Crackpot. He absolutely annihilated me, and I loved the way his army looks. So I thought, right, I'm gonna have my own partisan army, and you can run them with SAS as well. So yeah, it's gonna be really good. But that's my week: kit bashing and a bit of painting. So tonight I'm gonna finish these knights because they're killing me. Awesome. But that's my plan. And then for the rest of the week, another video. I'm going to be doing a DAC update because I've done a few more bits and pieces, and then some skeletons. Cheers, Richard. Yeah, the Piat team, it went together so well, and it just looks the part. It looks so natural the way it fits together. The only one I have to do any green stuff on is this guy here, and the arm's not quite as flush against the right side. So I'm going to merely put that. Some of the arms don't work; they're just completely out of whack. But a lot of them do. So yeah, video will be upcoming towards the end of the week, hopefully.
So Rich, if you want to supplement and put in some offensive miniatures in there.
Yes, I mean the offensive miniatures that Rich was using in his partisan force were lovely. In fact, Rich's whole partisan army was fantastic. It was so nice. And like I say, it absolutely wiped the floor with me. So that was a lesson learned.
Awesome. What about you, Martin? What you been up to, mate?
So I did that thing this week where I was kind of shuffling between multiple projects. So I've still got Zulus on the go. I've still got Byzantines on the go, and I've got other bits and bobs. But I couldn't resist getting stuck into the Blackguard box that I bought at Warfare a week ago, which I was sticking together last week.
You were literally salivating at Warfare for that. I've never seen you get so excited about anything.
What
the hell?
Well, the thing is there is actually a bit of a limit on like Saracen miniatures on especially on, like, say, plastics. There's quite a few metals, but actually the ranges aren't that big at all. And even though they're Berbers, then North America, I thought they'll do to represent an elite unit. So I put together, so as standard in Hail Caesar, I do free base sort of a 180mm frontage. So they came out like this. So I used the first ones there. And I just
shields.
They're cool. I just decided I did consider swapping in shields, but I thought, no, I want these ones to have a bit more of a uniform heavy infantry. So they're not a levy. They are actually cheers, dude. They're actually, standing heavy infantry rather than a levy that have been called up to fight. So but then I realized, so I there's 16 there. I had 8 left, and I thought, I wonder how can I get a large unit out of this? Because a large unit in my games would be 6 bases. And then I thought, so what I've done, I've positioned them so they're going to be in a horseshoe. So there's going to be because with large, it's just got to give that illusion that it is a large unit rather than necessarily having loads and loads and loads of figures on the bases. So the 2 bases either side of the wings will have another 4 miniatures, and imagine like they've almost formed a horseshoe to receive cavalry, a big attack.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, at the back. Now I haven't got a photo of this, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make my screen bigger because I've just finished this guy. Out, I just stabbed myself on the spear. But on the at the back, he's not going to come out. But there's this guy that you can build from the set who's like waving the book and the flag. So he'll be in the center at the back. He's probably not going to come out.
Yeah, moving back a bit.
Yeah,
just go.
Yeah,
go back.
He won't cut. Yeah. There you go. He won't. There you go. He won't come out. There you go. But he will. he'll be sitting in there. So I have that. They'll be sort of like in a horseshoe while he's standing there having a go at them, basically. But there they are at the moment. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. So getting a large unit, a 24-man box, because I was going to go and buy another box, and I thought, I don't have to do that. What can I do? Robin, I see those Blackguard already shrinking Battlefield Crusader cavalry. Well, the other thing that happened is I had a game with Robin, and here's a photo of the swirling cavalry. Well, my cavalry, his foot knights.
His foot knights look remarkably solid. I don't know what's going on there. You obviously not quite as swirly as you hoped you were going to be.
No. It was a really, really good game, and this was the game that people voted on the channel. And I mean, so they voted for a Crusader game, and then they voted for the channel members voted for a raid scenario. So we came up with one. But I'm currently editing that now, so I'm hoping that'll be out for Friday, and you can see some more terrain that Robin made with 24 hours notice to bring into the game, which I didn't ask him to do. I'd just like to add, but he's very good. But that was it, and just a whole load of just not. I don't know what else I've been doing. I don't seem to do it.
Alex says they look great. You can say that now. He's a medieval gamer now.
I did enjoy the video. I kept enjoying the caveats that you kept on throwing in your video, Alex. That made me chuckle.
Oh dear, awesome! I mean, they look brilliant. I love those Blackguard.
You'll like them because, and this
simple.
Isn't meant as an insult. Yeah, they're simple. They're straightforward.
Good.
There's a drum that I just didn't like sticking together, so I got rid of it and gave him a spear. So yeah, they're as simple as you have got extra swords and everything you can stick on them, but don't need to. So it's just 2 arms, head, shield, done.
Awesome.
And they're just straightforward, and I think they look pretty cool. So yeah, they'll do for an elite unit that can run away.
Nick wants to know when you're going to build Jerusalem. Want to see a game of the Siege of Jerusalem.
When I get when I find someone with with a filament printer who wants to print it all off for me, because otherwise it will take.
You're going to need the walls of Jerusalem for those new Reconquer siege engines, because it's about that big, isn't it? Bloody hell!
I know. Well, yeah,
that's going to be quite a print you're going to need there for those.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Well, maybe that's what that hardboard is behind Ken. Maybe he's just going to build some walls with that. Oh dear. What am I? So I've had a pretty reasonable week this week. So yeah, brace yourself.
Brace for impact, chaps. This could get bumpy.
Yeah, it could get bumpy. Sorry about this. I mentioned these last week. I almost finished. These were half done from last week, but I managed to finish them off. So some British Napoleonic household cavalry, and I did them because I was watching the Queen's funeral. I just thought I need some blues and royals in my army, so I bought them from front rank, and I did them up. But I kind of, there's something about cavalry, isn't there? Napoleonic cavalry just you sort of run out of steam halfway through them, but I finished them off, so they're done. So that's good.
I've never painted any, but I can imagine I'd run out of steam after about 32 seconds.
Well, the horses are easy and the undercoats are all easy. It's just then all the faddle around it. But anyway, got it done. So I'm pleased to get them finished. And they may see the table at some point. And last week we were talking about Margaret figures and how there weren't any decent ones. Here's one of the not decent ones. So I finished her off. This was the one I was going to use on that stand that I then found the Atlantis. Is Atlantis? What are they called?
Athena.
Yeah, it wasn't Atlantis. Athena. That's it. Athena miniature. So I just thought I might as well paint her up. But I mean, look at the old pose she's in. She's supposed to be side saddle. She's just.
It looks like she's. Well, I think it looks like she's getting off.
Yeah,
as in the horse, not like so like it looks like she's sliding off the horse.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a very good model, but anyway, it's better than the Perry Dumpy one. So,
will you be building Jerusalem? Green and Pleasant Land. Absolutely. Although I much prefer the Bruce Dickinson version, and if you haven't heard it, you should go and listen to it after the stream.
Oh God. I did one of Glenn's buildings, so it's another.
That's very cool.
55.
Oh, lovely.
Peking building. So that's one of his MDF. Although I was putting it together last week on the stream. It was a bugger to put together, I have to say, for a really simple model. The end bits, it was just the end bits were really weird, but it's all right. It's come out okay. So please. So I thought I'd better do some boxes to go with it. So there's more boxes. I kind of just sort of, do you know, I've always got, I talk about this a lot, but I always have multiple projects on the go on the painting tray all the time. And as I was painting various other things, I'd sort of go, well, there's a bit of paint left over, and I'd paint a bit of those boxes. And then before I knew it, I'd done a whole load more boxes. So there you go. That's how that happened. And I haven't finished because there was more. I did these fellas. I like these guys. I was really pleased with these. Cool. These Wargames Foundry. I think they're called Armed Gentlemen or something like that.
What's the dude on the right doing, Dom? He's crouched.
He's pulling a sword. I think he's pulling a sword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like out of his cane sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a cane sword. A bit like the guy in the back is also a cane sword.
You could use them as a dead man hands gang, can you? Somehow?
I guess you could.
I was going to say that they could pass as Pinkertons.
Ooh,
sort of.
I was going to use them in my boxer stuff, but maybe that's a good idea, actually. Well, there you go. Multi-functioning. There you go. I like that. Good idea. I knew you guys would come up for an excuse of my collector mania. And also made a start on my Age of Alexander
nice.
saga army.
I do love the colours you've chosen on those.
Yeah.
And they look
do you know, I just went mad. I just thought, sod it, I'm going to go crazy because I'm doing an Eastern Hellenistic faction, probably the Bactrians. I just thought I'm going to go for it. So put a bit of colour in them rather than just doing them, bronze or whatever they would have been. So yeah, it was all good. So that was fun. So I've got I've got the rest of the army to do, so that'll be done probably in a couple of weeks. It'll be fine, ready to fight Graham. So there you go. That's what I've been up to.
Very nice. Very nice.
I did have a game, actually. I don't know whether everyone saw it, but I did have a game with myself, actually, of playing the boxers, playing sharp practice, using some rules that somebody suggested, the sedan variant.
I've got that lined up when I'm next inside, because I've got some reports to write.
Yeah,
it was good fun, although someone did point out to me I got the rules wrong, because apparently they can actually bolter, because I've never used that later period. I've only ever used muskets, but apparently the breech loading rifles in that can fire twice a turn, which would have been quite powerful. So anyway, there you go. So that was fun. I enjoyed it. Really good.
Dom, do you think that they work better than the Men Who Would Be King?
I do. I definitely do. I'm going to persist with them. Some people thought, well, a couple of comments said they preferred the Men Who Would Be King, but I think they'll work much better. I do like sharp practice. I think it's a really cool system. So I'm going to persist.
Do you think it? So with that, do you think it was more reflective of the period? With the additional rules from that magazine, do you think that went some way to give it a bit more flavour? I think so. It's what worried me with when we played Men Who Would Be King. It seemed to be unless you gave the boxers a lot of terrain, it was almost impossible for them to win because of the firepower of the coalition forces, which may be historically accurate, but it didn't make for a great game. So it was sort of then you either had to cover the table in terrain, and even then it's so basic, the rule system. I just found it too simple, and I didn't quite enjoy it.
Do you mean streamlined?
Yeah, I do mean streamlined. Streamlined to an inch of itself. So I felt the Sudan variant was pretty good. I just thought it had enough flavour in it to work. And it made me actually think I wouldn't mind doing a Sudan army, but I'm not going to do that because that's silly, isn't it? That's very silly.
1 week later, I'll just paint up the Sudan army.
No,
because I had to spare 5 minutes.
Yeah, see, Alex agrees with me. It's just too simple, and you have to. I think he's right. You do have to add a lot in to make it really add a bit of flavour. I think, but I know some people love it, and each their own. Just not my thing. All right, so that's everything. So also the other thing, we did talk about this last week, but we have donated the proceeds from Crackpot 3 to this charity, Harry Perkins Institute, Medical Research in Australia, which apparently Leon got in touch with Becca's wife, who said this was a charity that was dear to his heart. So that's where we put the money. So $885 US.
US dollars, I mean Australian dollars.
Australian dollars. Sorry, wouldn't it be that? Otherwise, I'm in debt. 885 Australian dollars has been deposited. So thank you to everybody who contributed to the raffles and came along and did all the good stuff. Really, really good. So really nice to do that. So there you go. That's what we've been up to this week. So let's get on to the topic. So remember, Ken, you're on a warning. Right. So I was saying to the guys before, the reason why I wanted to talk a bit about technology in games and gaming and how things might develop, because I got approached some couple of months ago now, and I have been very naughty and actually done anything about it, about basically playtesting an app system for a Second World War wargaming rule set. And it was basically, the concept is everything's on your phone app, and you did everything for you. Not just a rule system, but you could actually do all the calculations and blah, blah. I mean, I haven't actually downloaded it, so I don't know exactly what it all did. But it got me thinking about all that sort of where things might go. Because if you look at where we are with rule systems, PDFs and people using their iPads is now the norm. I still prefer the paper, but I'm old. But I love the smell of a new rule book when it arrives. But
absolutely.
But a lot of people still use electronic versions. So it got me thinking. So what about how things are going to develop, and how far are we happy for them to develop in terms of the rule systems and how the games are going to be played and how things are going to change? So I split it up into different bits. So starting with rule systems. So I remember back in the day, there used to be a lot of there was a sort of trend for computer-driven games. So all the rules were on a computer. You inputted all the data, and it spat out all the calculations and told you how many kills there were. And it was particularly popular in naval games. But in those days, you had to take along a massive, great computer, because there wasn't such thing as laptops and things like that. They just didn't exist. So it wasn't terribly practical as a game system. But do you guys think that there's going to be a way that, would you be happy if there was a game system that came out which was run almost entirely on an iPad or an iPhone?
There was one that did come out. I remember Beasts of War covering it quite heavily. Everything was worked out on virtually, and then you moved the miniatures, and then it told you what your moves are. And I think it died a death. I think I can't remember what it was called. If anyone in the chat can remember, it was a fantasy setting. I mean, there are some rule sets who where you've used apps. So I've never used. I think there's a 40k one, but there is Xls. There you go. Robin's just picked up Xls as the name. But I've seen companion apps. So Steve, obviously Privateer Press, they released one, because on that you use cards and you keep track of health on cards. So it was a way to look up rules and quickly and just keep track of units. And I hated it. Because on a phone it was even my fingers were too big to mark the little boxes and all of that kind of stuff. But I think we will see more in app integration.
It does seem to be the fantasy side of things that sort of, again, as ever, sort of takes that. Is that because sort of leads the way on that? Is that because you think
market leader,
a lot of younger people as well?
I was going to say it's the demographic. Is that what you're trying to say? Yes. It's a really polite way of what you're saying.
But surely if you want to do apps, though, surely if you do apps, surely just play a video game, don't you?
Well, that was always my question with these things: is how far down the line
I'm not using technology. I like not using the technology.
But one of the I said, surveyors do it. We have apps that we use for measuring and looking at area. So games that use things like template weapons. If people forget templates, people don't necessarily carry them, and all you got to do is, you can measure a whole room. You can survey a whole room with a phone it'll do all the measurements for you. Yeah. So you can hold it above a certain distance above the table, and it'll project the template. You just use your phone camera to see it, and it will show you what models are affected. You won't have to. So I can see a use for things like that. But personally, I like flipping through books, but I can see more app integration coming. I can't see it replacing things. I think personally, my view is any game that would come out that would be solely app based will die, because you've got to keep updating it.
Well, the only app I've downloaded so far is for Hero Quest, and it's for solo play with Hero Quest. So you play, and the app generates the map, it generates the enemies. I've not used it yet, but apparently it's quite intuitive and it's really in depth. So that's a good way of if you want a bit of
sort of like an artificial intelligence to play against you.
Yeah. I know there was a really
useful, right? Yeah.
There was a really, really basic one for X-Wing that came out years ago. I used to use it when I was, if I wanted to run a new list, I didn't have an opponent, I used to play against this app. Just to see how my own list would run and fly and work. But it wouldn't ever replace a live human opponent. But I don't think it was supposed to. But the Hero Quest one is a dedicated app developed by Hasbro, and it allows you to cheers, James. I've had it on my phone since I got Hero Quest earlier this year, and I've never got around to using it. So I might have to try that because it'd be quite interesting.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Now I know about it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, here we go. Yorkshire.
Oh, I just saw that as well. So we use a set called Hard Pounding. Are you sure that?
Admittedly, that doesn't sound very dodgy, but I do remember that rule set. It was brilliant. Sadly, never worked on a PC, and that shows your age. Yeah, it does, mate. But I remember it too.
It sounds like something Flashheart would come up with from Black Adam.
Yes,
and Hard Pounding. Yeah, it's true. There was that one, and there was a Napoleonic one. There was a maritime game I remember as well, which had a similar kind of setup. But again, it was very difficult to run. Somebody also mentioned one here. I've just lost it already.
There are board game apps. So there's that Lord of the Ring. Is it Adventures in Middle Earth? That's entirely app based. The game for that. It does your quests, and I quite like the idea of it for board games and for role play games because it for cooperative things. So maybe for games like Rangers of Shadow Deep. I mean, is there a way that potentially it can make decision? Because it develops a story. Do you go left or right? You told it you went left, and it tells you what happens. And but it's quite good with board games. It's quite good for legacy play. So you get that campaign. That's Lord of the Rings? Adventures in Middle Earth. The Fantasy Flight one. You have the base set, and they just release. I can't say how well supported it is. I think the idea is they just they release new content through the app for you to play. But is there a way? Could you play against? Could people, for example, 0-200 hours? Yeah. Could a small game with an app, and you play against the game? I know he's releasing a solo mode, but could you? I think it would obviously be much harder with a rank and flank. Broad ward game, but if you're doing something with like a game like 0-200 or Operation Squad, these just smaller skirmish games where it makes decisions. I don't know.
I think that's the one, Kevin. I remember that one. That's the one. It was a World War II naval game, and it did everything for you, which seemed a bit pointless, really, because you just sort of were there, just sort of moving the little ships around. But anyway, I think the point's good. The bit I like the idea of is like Steve says, the artificial intelligence bit. If you were only playing on your own, and also the campaign, the opportunity to sort of run a campaign, because campaigns are always difficult to run, right? Aren't they? I mean, as soon as somebody starts losing out, they drop out, they lose interest, and suddenly it all fizzles out. But you could run it against, you could have multiplayers on same side against artificial intelligence and play it out. And having a computer base to run that, I can see the value of that. But I tend to agree with you. I'm not sure the computers at the table are really the way to go. But
no, No, but there is a comment Rich has just said about Corvus Belli, who make Infinity, have just they've developed this game called Warcrow, which is entirely app driven. That's a sort of skirmish war game. And they're a fairly, I would say, well, after Games Workshop, they're one of the bigger companies, definitely, certainly for sci-fi. So that's their foray into fantasy.
Interesting. And what about? I mean, you talked about measurement before, and we were joking about that earlier as well. Is that estate agents have a device that measures a wall within an inch, within a few millimeters of what it should be. You use them in your archaeology stuff. Is that something you'd want to play? Is that something you want to use? Because that's half the fun, right? Is that little bit is it in range or is it not?
I think that's where you'd be even more pernickety, where it gets down to you are 0.1 of an inch out. Whereas by eye, you'd go, oh yeah, just have it, it's fine. We'd be like, no, at 0.1, that arrow just magically falls out the sky. I mean, I don't know so much for the measurements, but I can see use for it for things like templates or deployments or area effects, zones of things like that, or even if you've got like hidden things on your side, or I don't know, I don't know.
I think it has its place, but if it directly replaced me putting painted figures on a tabletop, I don't think I'd be down with that. If it's an addition or it aids the game somewhat, but
like the idea with the solo play, in it, Steve.
Yes, I mean, the solo play for HeroQuest, the app looks really good. But I've mentioned it before. But the Dark Souls board game, that's pure solo play. You play against a deck of cards. You play against it's hard to explain. They have behavior cards, and each enemy reacts in a different way. And then when you've cleared 4 of the zones, you go up against a minor boss or a major boss. They have attack patterns, and so you've got to memorize what their attack pattern was, and try and it's a bit like the video game that kicks you in the head repeatedly. But that's a really, really not a simple way, but a very intuitive way of doing solo play, because it's all card driven. And
it's like Kingdom Death up there, which Kingdom Death up there is exactly the same. It's entirely cooperative. You can play it any number, and up to, well, realistically, I suppose up to 4, but everything is driven by a card deck. So I could see people replacing decks with apps, I guess. But yeah, what do you do? I don't know, if you have to log on to if you can download the stuff, I suppose it's not so bad as long as you keep your devices. But what do you do in like 5 years' time if you want to have a game and it's no longer supported?
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody, I'm going back, Miller, I think he made the point, what are you going to do 10 years down the line when it's not supported anymore and you can't play it? Yeah, I mean, but then again, we move on from rule systems within the space of a year or two anyway, don't we? So it's like, is that really such a big deal? I mean, how many times do we drop a rule system just because it's upgraded,
Sorry, that's just made me laugh. Dark Souls is like being in a failing marriage.
I'm not joking. I'm okay at video games. I'm not the best, but I'm okay. Dark Souls is just a completely different thing altogether. That is the most unforgiving series of games ever. It's just, it's. I know they always say get good, and I've tried and I can't get good, so that's why I stick with the board game. But even then, the board game kicks my ass constantly because it's so difficult to play. It's so difficult to win, but it's good. It's a challenging game. But yeah, definitely Dark Souls. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting one. I guess we sort of crossed it a few times. Is that business about where does a war game become an online game versus a board game? And it sounds like we're happy to go with it if it's a board game, but not as if it's a figure game. Is that right? What about you, Ken?
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same, to be fair. If it's a war game, the whole reason is I'm painting the miniatures up because I want it to look cool and use them all. But if it's a board game, then I don't mind using an app because it's the whole point of it, isn't it? It's only a board game. It's not a war game per se. I'm not going to be playing that board game for 9 hours.
Well, there are some people that do though, and they they just paint up board games and they'll paint up their miniatures nicer looking than we can paint our figures, and they'll game with them, and they'll run. I mean, what's that game? It comes in a massive chest. It's another
Gloomhaven.
one. Gloomhaven, yeah, that's like God. I think isn't that something like 900 hours or something like worth of like someone got out of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a different beast, isn't it? A board game is quite contained. It has more parameters than a war game has.
Board games are a bit
wide open table.
Yeah, I don't want to say that they're more fantasy, but you do get a lot more fantasy board games, don't you? Like, you know what I mean, like made up universes and stuff like that, compared to say historical. You get historical board games, but not. I would say more fantasy side of things.
Do you think board games lend themselves more to the addition of technology, because they're genuinely sort of an enclosed game that you're not playing on a 6x4 or a 12x4 table. You've not got hundreds of figures. I just think it would, again, going back to the Hero Quest solo play, just an app, and you play on a board, and I just think it would lend itself more to, or it's probably easier to onboard it onto a board game than onto a tabletop game.
But do you think, I mean, part of the thing we all love about gaming, I think, is that sociability of it all. The fact you all sit around with your mates and you take the piss and you're there together, which is really hard to do in a computer game. I mean, I know there's online games and stream games and that sort of thing, which sort of gets that. So do you think that's where it all falls apart, is when it's computerized? Because even board games, I mean, people go around and play board games together, don't they? And it's a very much a social thing as well.
Yeah.
No, if my mate comes around, sometimes we'll play that Judge Dredd board game. I mean, it's 40 years old now, but it's still brilliant. It's a fun, enjoyable game, and it's just a very, very good board game.
What did we play, Martin? Didn't we, when you were down Stardew Valley? Wasn't it? We played.
Yeah. Well, I do like board games. I do enjoy a good board game, but if I mean, there are God, I've got so many, but I do enjoy board games. I just enjoy war games more. Yeah, it's my. But I say tabletop miniature games I enjoy more. Because I've played some what I would consider war game. Tide of Iron is a massive World War II, essentially war game, but and it's a good game, but I'd rather play it out using Chain of Command or something like that.
Here's a question for Alex. No, Alex plays a lot of Undaunted.
I've played that.
Is there any scope or benefit from using an app in that for like solo play, or what's? I mean, I've seen it being played.
He's raging in the comments, naming all these different historical board games.
I knew someone said there are many.
Ken said that he's naming thousands.
Do you know what? You know what game I've for many years I've had to resist buying. I borrowed it when I was a kid for off someone for about 9 months. Axis and Allies.
Oh, that's a good game.
That's a brilliant game, absolutely brilliant game. Now that's military history, and it's a board game, so it's it's hits the sweet spot there. But again, would there be scope for introducing apps for solo play into that, or it'd be quite interesting.
What about actually? Anthony's brought up this. Well, my next question was really about dicing apps. So,
fuck off. That's worse than circle fucking dice. That is.
But remember, during lockdown, everyone was playing. Was it Tabletop Simulator? And there was that dice thing there, and that's what you had.
Yeah, you know what? Anything that's random number generated. Like I play Blood Bowl on my Xbox.
Yeah,
and that game just cheats.
Yes.
Unless I'm physically rolling the dice and I can see my poor dice rolls. If I'm rolling virtual dice, I'm thinking, hold on a second. The thing I'm playing against is rolling my dice. What's going on here? That's not right. And Blood Bowl again. It's so unforgiving.
Yeah, the only time I do is when I play Tabletop Simulator. Ken, the only time I use a dice roller is when we're playing a drinking game where we're out on the piss. And we play a game called 4-2-1. But last time I played that and we were out, my phone, because someone was shaking, you have to shake it, went like that, and my phone flew across the pub.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, is that the equivalent of changing your dice? Then just change your phone.
Change your phone, yeah.
I had to get it in there, didn't you?
I did every time. I don't know. I mean, it is that thing. I mean, I have to say, I quite enjoyed the tabletop simulator games, but the one thing that really annoyed the hell out of me was those automatic dice things. I just detested that. I wanted to roll the dice. In the end, we were playing Zoom games a bit, and in the end, it was just sort of getting. And even that, I remember we had a bit of a disagreement, my gaming group, about who should roll the dice. So some people wanted to roll it themselves, wanted to roll it as the guy controlling the game to roll them, and then show the results. Whereas I didn't like that. It's like I wanted to roll my own dice and just trust the other person.
Oh, that's also that comes into role playing games as well. There's this whole argument about who rolls, the dungeon master or the games master or the heroes, and I'm a firm advocate for you should be responsible for your own misfortune. So you should roll the dice yourself.
Exactly. I don't roll it. I don't mind if I roll double one when I needed anything but a 1. But if the umpire does it, I'm going to get really arsey about it. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. You got
that'd be like, imagine playing a game like Ball Touch, Black Powder, and all you do is command. You don't roll dice, and you don't roll. You don't pick up your figures.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what it felt like a bit doing some of those Zoom games, because you were just directing them, and you couldn't really see what was going on most of the time. Yeah, probably true, Robin. Probably true.
Yeah, Robin, I feel your pain, mate. I'm exactly the same.
Rumor has it you're outsourcing your dice rolls anyway. That's what I heard. Yeah, I think it is because it is that combination of if you roll badly, it's your fault. It's your dice. You rolled them. Whereas if somebody does it, no, it just doesn't seem right. Actually, somebody else mentioned this, and again, I think it crossed my mind with technology is around helping you with actually what you can see. So lines of view lines on the tabletop, and actually because we always have this godlike view of what you can see all the time, and there was a phase a while back for having again many years ago having those sort of observer type things, and you'd look through the tape, and sort of see what you could see, and if you could see it, then you were allowed to act on it. Do you think there's a way you could do that with some sort of technology to make the game more realistic?
Probably. I think a lot of this comes down to, for me, is that apart from when we're filming battle reports and using the phone for various other bits and bobs, I try to not look at my phone when I'm gaming. It's time away from a screen. So if I was gaming and then someone at the table, this kind of pokes up like this to have a look, over the hill, to see, can I actually see them? I think it's just, but really he's like looking at his Instagram. That's I don't know. I think there is an application. I just don't think it would be widely used. I think there is the opportunity to do it, but what would it?
Know. Do you think it would? I think it would take something away. I don't know whether this is the right way to describe it. It would take something away from the innocence of tabletop wargaming. It's just. If you've got to be that precise, is it the right game for you? I mean, if you've really got to get down to sort of, you're 4 millimeters out, or you can't roll, you can't fire, or I don't know. It's weird. There's something about tabletop gaming for me. There's a sort of innocence about it. It's just a very. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I think if technology was completely rammed into it, and so we had automatic dice rollers, we had things automatically judging ranges. I don't know. I think it would take something away from the actual act of moving figures and rolling dice for me. That I think you should never really want to move away. Exactly, you should never really want to move away from it.
No, I agree with you. I tend to agree, and it just intrigued me. It was intriguing to me whether or not we saw any kind of changes in it, because the hobby hasn't really changed substantially. The design of figures, the quality of figures certainly has. I think the quality of terrain, those sort of mats and all that kind of stuff has moved on leaps and bounds, but the actual mechanics of the game haven't changed really.
No.
You still Got a tape measure, you're rolling dice, you're moving figures. And does it need to keep people interested or bring people in? I don't know.
Here's a question for you then. So the tape measure, the humble tape measure, has that always been used as a, would you say, as the gaming aid for movement, or did each individual game back in the day? No, each individual game back in the day have their own template sort of thing.
No, I mean, I think tape measure's been pretty much the number one tool, if you like, for measurement. But I think some systems used sticks, but they were basically just another version. They were another version of a tape measure, really.
But it was how you you basically some multi-scale, and a lot of them use base widths. So you would have a custom measure. Everything would be referred to in base widths because it would be specific to then the figures that you and your opponent are using. So I've got a few rule sets that do that are older rule sets.
Oh, okay.
And then
so you would make your own set basically.
And then you've got Crossfire, which doesn't use any kind of measurements.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Literally no measurements. No tape measures. No nothing. Just everything's within range. If you can see it, you can shoot at it. You just move until you're interrupted and you lose the initiative. I think that's a game that's fascinated me for years because the mechanics are so different to what I'm usually playing. I think that would, from a tactical point of view, it would certainly make you think. But a game with no measurements, brilliant.
Well, we got our friend Simon, who writes to the strongest, and that's based on that sort of, really effectively almost invisible grid, and it's all just grid based, so you don't have to measure anything because you can just see. You can see the whole thing, and that's hugely popular. Everyone,
massive, isn't it?
He said himself, if you just said to him that he was going to write a set of rules for a grid-based system that uses cards, he just said you're mad. But like with Warfare, we saw how popular it is. That's kind of going the other way. That's sort of
well,
listen, strength and honors like that, isn't it? That's grid-based, and there's no real ranges in that.
Yeah.
I don't trust games where there's no measurement. There you go. I can put that out there. Those grid-based ones, I understand the concept of them, but I still just want to measure it. It just feels wrong.
I think that just means that you're an untrusting person.
Probably. Yeah. Well, I found one the other day. I've got just down. Oh, I won't go over it now because it means I have to get up and I'm lazy. But we used to have measuring sticks for Napoleonic games, particularly, which then measured. Actually, someone just mentioned it. Sort of measured the bounce through. So you'd fire at a target, and then it sort of then would measure the distance where the bounce through would go, and that was kind of cool. And but it was same thing basically. It was a measuring stick, so it was no different to a measure. And that kind of thing was good. And it also had the added advantage you could smack your opponent over the head with it afterwards, which was always very good because the big one was about 6 foot long. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing, isn't it? It's that tactileness. So what about the figure side of things? So I know we don't want to go too much into the 3D stuff, but what about different materials that figures are going to be made of? We talked about you were getting really excited at Warfare, Martin, about the MDF figures, and card figures seem to have taken off again. That was quite an old. I was excited. I was excited because I was just really, really impressed with what he'd done. I thought what he'd done was very cool, and as he said, for £20. Here's a huge army to try out a rule set, and if you don't like it, burn it. So which I thought was great. I think it's interesting that people are looking at other materials, to widen the interest of the hobby. But I think like you bring in stuff like that. That's how you get new players into things. You show them you don't have to spend £500 and then on a game that they might hate. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a thing because we could talk about the streamlining bit and the sort of how rules have changed and everything's more about skirmish games. It's a lot cheaper to get involved in, but it still is quite an expensive hobby if you can ever go. So having paper figures or cardboard figures or MDF figures is certainly a lot cheaper. That's for sure.
Yeah,
MDF.
once you take into account paints and everything as well. If you're somebody who's brand new, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think having been to the Warlord Games Open Day, and as part of the part of the factory tour, they showed us the Silecast, and that has come along so fast, and the speed in which they are cast from going to the machine, button pressed. Yeah, as I mean, what James said there about Silecast, and the miniatures they were showing us and passing around, and the quality. It's just, I don't know. It's just so good. I think it's only going to get better, and the again with speed, they can cast so many of those throughout the day. But for me, it was the quality. They just look nice. You know me, I love my plastics, but Silecast, I'm quite interested to see where that's heading, because I think the quality will only get better and better and better.
Well, the thing is, it's just one company that owns that, isn't it? Because it's only one company who's Silecast, who actually they're the only people you can buy the stuff from.
Yeah,
they're the only people, so it's all just through them. So will there now be competitors that come out with their own versions?
Possibly,
because I imagine it's the process that they've trademarked rather than the materials.
So that's a bit concerning, though, because you don't want one company to have complete control over how figures are produced, do you? If everyone's heading that route, because Robin says that Rubicon have announced they're going to be going Silecast, and been playing machines for 2 years to get it right. Yeah, that's a long time to invest in that, isn't it? I don't know. Does it affect the painting, or does it affect the design in any way, or is it just literally as easy as the plastic figure?
The Silecast. No, the Silecasts are harder to clean, because you can't file them, you have to cut them.
Yeah.
You can't file them down, which is one of the main things that people will point out. So the benefits they'll point out, which is the cost, the detail, the fact that they're slightly flexible, and but one of the drawbacks, which I see people do bring up, is that yes, you'd have to. So, for example, something like a mold line, you have to use a scalpel, which is what I would use. I always go to a knife before I go to a file, anyway. But you have to cut into it, I guess. But apparently, I think there's a new one that you could. Yeah, there you go.
So there's a new one you can file. So there you go. Yeah, I guess that's part of the development of the figure and of the process to get it, so you can actually do what you need to do with it. I'm intrigued.
I still think I'll be using plastics. I mean, I use plastics where I can. I don't like metal miniatures at all. I just think there's something about them. So I don't really use them. I very rarely have any in these days. My ball tactical armies, I would rather go out of my way to kit bash something rather than use a metal equivalent. It's just. Because the scale-wise, they don't tend to scale well with my bolt action plastics, which is why when I get any kind of Warlord Games gun crew, they go straight in my box, and I get rid of the crew altogether, and I spend a couple of hours just kit bashing a new crew, because I just prefer them that way. I really do.
I don't know. Sorry, Ken.
Yeah, no, I was going to say. It's like I'm just going to mention the printing side of things. So the first major company that I know of this, I've just subscribed to them, Wargames Atlantic, for their 3D print stuff. So, for a big company like that to do a $10 a month, here's going to be a load of STL files. Go nuts. I think it's a start of something different. I can't put my finger on it yet.
I mean, it's definitely the way they're all going. GEMA announced that they were going to start doing STL files as well as their metal figures. I think everyone's going to be doing it, right? They're all going to be heading that way.
Half of its producers an STL file, so it's an alternative revenue stream, because there are people who might to say, oh, I don't know, I don't necessarily want 40 Romans in a Agama box, but I want to do Saga, so I'll just spring for the STLs and get someone to print them. There's quite, I mean, God knows how many Patreons and companies are doing STLs at the moment, who you can sign up for and that. like
Oh, yeah.
Ronker and
Tons
even
of them.
that is it Moon? No, not Moonstone. It's another one. Warplock. They do stuff, and there's so many for role playing games. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, I think they might as well, because half, they're getting the digital sculpts, they're getting them as STLs. It's just another revenue stream.
Yeah,
but I don't think it will replace their main.
Is it going to be
stream.
counterproductive though? Do you think? I mean, if they're all going to be doing, if you go to Wargames Atlantic,
well,
and you
I've got
can
the
get your
Russians
STLs
now forever.
Exactly, you've got for $10 a month. Well, so you can do
forever.
1 month, and you've got all the Russians you're ever going to need. So you're never going to go back and buy another box from them.
But is it though? Because a lot of them are only licensed for that month, right? A lot of them. So like you'll get like certain models for free that month. And
once you got the STL file, that's it.
Yeah, you can
put you can put things on STLs. You can put things on any file to make it unaccessible after a certain amount of time. I do it.
Yeah, but then you just crack it.
Well, yeah, but then if you're printing, but then we're back into the idea of. But no, what I mean is, but I don't think it will, because I still think that someone who wants a let's say Napoleonic army would still rather spring for like their boxes of Russians than send them off to someone to print if they haven't got a printer themselves.
If they got a printer themselves, I can't see the point of buying the boxes.
I think because it'd be quicker. It'd be quicker and cheaper and less labor intensive for them. They haven't got to clean them. They haven't got to deal with failed prints. They haven't got to sit and wait for them. They haven't got to spend the electricity. They just order them. They're here in a few days, and then they can get clipping. And then on top of that, you got to paint and everything on top of it. I don't think it
just costs more money, Martin. It does. As much as you say it doesn't, it does. It costs more money.
I didn't say, but no. But you're not taking in your time to sort all of that out. Whereas I can just order a box of miniatures. They're here, and I can start. I haven't got to check. I will check them. I've got to clean them up, but we've got to clean up stuff on 3D prints. I get 3D prints as well.
Yeah,
but I'm not. That's not going to replace it. It's like I said to you. I don't. We had this conversation all day. The Perrys are not going to get rid of their whole plastic range, are they? That's not going to happen. They've got none of these companies are going to get rid of their all of their plastic ranges. That isn't going to happen. Wargames Atlantic have only just. They're a fairly recent company. They've been developing their ranges. They've been putting the votes out to the community about what they're going to develop. They got the Conquistadors, they've got their futuristic stuff, they've got the World War I stuff. They're not suddenly just going to go, no, we're going STLs only, are they? That's not going to happen. No,
they're not going to go all the way. But it does. I guess what they may do is just say, right, we'll only do these as STLs, and others will do as physical. So
they'll do limited editions, or if things go out of production, maybe then they'll just keep them as STLs. Yeah. So like we're not going to produce these in plastic anymore or in metal. Here's the STLs if you want them.
Yeah, James says.
They haven't got to ship out for another mold or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole sort of time to production is so much quicker, isn't it? I mean, it's if you're, as you say, Martin, they're designed generally in digital format now. Perry's obviously an exception and still do it the old way, but most of them are done digitally, so they've got the files pretty much straight away. There's no cost in terms of getting the molds done or anything else like that. They can send them out. So do you think that therefore there'll be more like there is in the fantasy? If you go onto Kickstarter or into one of these download sites, you can pick up so many really niche and obscure kind of things. Yeah. But they're generally sort of fantasy or sci-fi weird shit. Do you think there's going to be an opportunity there for somebody just to bring out something really historical but very niche by doing that?
Absolutely.
Which has got to be a good thing, right?
The startup cost is much smaller. And I think that's a good thing. But I don't think the big companies are going to stop. I don't see why they would.
Ever?
There's no reason.
Or do you think at some point they will?
Not anytime soon. It's you've invested too much money. Like this idea of it, it's the investment's too big.
20 years?
Like, I mean, I don't know. Well, look at Games Workshop. I said this to Dominic. Like, do you know how much what Games Workshop's turnover was last year?
A lot.
Its annual turnover. Its annual turnover last year was something like 400, or was it 430 million? Right? Mm-hmm. Do you know what Warlord Games was?
Pittance compared to that.
No, 10.
12. 12.
Yeah, 12 million.
12. So with that in the market, they're not just going to. What I'm saying with GW is they're not. They're just not going to suddenly just change to doing STLs, are they?
No.
Because they've just got. It's driven by profits, which is if it works for some people, brilliant.
They've got shareholders they've got to keep happy. So
what would be interesting is, this range of Turnip 28 figures that are being developed. I think they will be STL only.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I've just got this feeling they won't be mass-produced plastic. I think there will be STLs. I mean, they look nice, but it's for me. I won't be buying them because I prefer to make my own. But no, they do look nice. They look very, very turnipy.
Yeah, I've just seen just up there someone saying that those because the STLs can be time stamped, and then they've said that the Wargames Atlantic STLs are essentially going to be tests for kits that they're then going to produce in plastic. So after they produce them in plastic, I don't see why they would keep them as STLs. They just use them for a while, get people to test them out, see if they work, and then remove them.
I don't think they've not said anywhere in their blurb that they have any timestamps, but not to say they couldn't bring them in. But interesting. Oh, Leslie says he was working with 3D printers for rapid prototyping in the mid-90s and only just seeing it in the domestic market. It's true, Leslie. I remember many years ago going around the McLaren Formula One factory, and they were using a very, very early version of a 3D printer to produce special components for the cars that they couldn't get done anywhere else. Certainly not in the time frame they needed them. It's taken a long time to get it down to the size where it just sits in your bedroom and doesn't pollute you. So and it will go further still. I mean, we know the leaps and bounds 3D has gone. It's extraordinary.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's I think it's we were talking about the other week when Ken brought it up. I think it's just an amazing addition to the hobby, which is going to open up more avenues for more figures and more creators, which I think is brilliant.
So, I mean, it sounds like we're all a bit sort of set in our ways with the technology. So we like just having the figures on the table and rolling the dice, really, don't we? That's what we all like. And that's it. No technology. I still think there's something in there around the sort of how you can work with AI, help the realism angle. But I like a tape measure. I like measuring. I like to roll a dice.
We didn't talk about it in regards to say effects on the table, so like battlefield noises and all that sort of stuff. Smoke screens.
So how would you mean having explosions in the background and that kind of stuff?
that'd be quite cool.
Well, that's what that ex-Illis game did, and it died in its ass.
I like the idea.
What's to stop you putting YouTube on and playing some effects through that?
Yeah. No, but like when you're shooting a machine gun off, you push a button and a machine gun comes out of the speaker on the board on the table, and then you got.
Well, there are apps that do that already for role playing games, like with
I was going to say, I was going to say, I thought you'd mentioned it before, Martin. There are say RPG sort of focused apps that have the sound effects, the ambient music, and they work that way.
Sirenscape it's called, but they do a World War II one because there's a few World War II settings for various role-playing games. So you can sound. They're effectively soundboards that you just have open and you press the presses you do. But they can work.
But does it? I mean, do you really need that to help your game?
Not really. It's just something to have.
It interrupts the banter, doesn't it? I mean, we can all still go boom as we're doing an airstrike, can't we? I mean, it's easy enough.
When you're calling in a Stuka.
Exactly.
One thing, I don't know whether this is a thing or not, would be for me, the technology I'd get behind would be the living rulebook.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Now that's a good point.
So you pay for the initial rulebook, but it's living. It's not. I think
you don't mean like the Necronomicon.
So if there's a change to the rules, they update it live in your living rulebook, and it's there. They haven't got to release it as an FAQ or an errata. You get a
Make you pay for
notification.
it again.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be subscription based.
Well, we'll get onto it in the news in a bit, but like Saga's is bringing out an updated rulebook next month, December, and it's not actually changing the rulebook. It's just got all the FAQs put into it.
That's
So
like
it's been out for 6 years, and they've just said, right, we need to update it. So, but you're going to have to. I mean, I think it's only 12 quid or something for the rulebook, so it's not a ridiculous amount of money. But as you say, Steve, they just sort of every time Bolt Action has an update, your manual is updated with the latest FAQ.
Exactly, because when they release those FAQs, I always download the PDF, and I have to go through and think, right, what's relevant to me? What's relevant to the nations that I run? And I flick over most of them because they don't apply to the nation. I mean, obviously the German ones that are updated quite a lot. But if there was just an update where we've had this, we're changing this, there's been an update to the rule book. It's on this page. This is the update, and it's there. Yeah. The only problem with that is your rule book would be completely digital, and you wouldn't be able to smell it. And there's nothing like thumbing through a rule book in the middle of a game. I do like that.
I think for me, a lot of it comes down to like time commitment on this stuff. Is it actually worthwhile? Or is it going to get like Dom says? Is it going to get in the way of me having a game which I can play perfectly well without this technology?
Yeah.
And what's the time better? Am I just while I'm fumbling to set off an MG42 sound, could be rolling another dice, getting on with the game.
I don't really see the sound effects, although apparently, according to Don, I've got to do some recording so he can play it during these next Blood Red Skies games. I can do that. Sorry.
The closest we've come to that is when we used to play X-Wing. We used to have the trilogy soundtrack play in the background, and we'd be making TIE fighter noises through the entire game. But that was just us.
I don't trust anybody in a game that doesn't at some point make some kind of noise like that. I just don't. Anyway, let's have a little break from the future and talk about the current stuff. So do a bit of new stuff coming out. Martin, you saw some new stuff coming out?
No, I did see some new stuff coming out, and I didn't like. Obviously, you picked up on Saga and that, so I didn't bother uploading it because I had it ready. And
there's the Saga.
Yep, yeah, there we go, and it can be neatly identified by the 2022 in the middle.
Yes, 2022. But they do stress, which I did like the fact they did stress. You don't have to buy this; it doesn't change any of the rules. It just incorporates the FAQs, so it's good if you want everything together, or if you're a new player. And I like that. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I've ordered mine because I need it, obviously.
Absolutely. Why would you not? There was a few things. Hang on. I just decided to put more red on my. There we go. Right. So, I saw the Wargames Atlantic were previewed their World War I British.
Oh yes.
They showed off the sprue, which I thought might a few people might enjoy.
Yes, they're nice. They are lovely. Having seen that, like I say, that box of partisans from Wargames Atlantic, very impressed. And these look just as good. They really do.
Their figures are really good, aren't they?
They are really nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
I do want Alex to get hold though of a copy of these and do a historical myth versus reality against this sprue. Because I've been enjoying his reviews and obviously then his review of All Quiet on the Western Front as well. He seems to have carved out a little niche in the last couple of weeks, debunking the World War I myths in wargaming. So I think Wargames Atlantic maybe they don't want to send it to him actually. I'm not sure.
Probably not.
But they should. The next thing I saw was people at Battlefront have released some new sets for the World War III Team Yankee. So this is a Soviet starter force, which I thought looked really cool.
Those helicopters look awesome.
Heinz. Yep. You seen the McDonald's signs upside down at the back there?
Yeah.
No, I hadn't seen that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that. Oh,
that's wicked. And then they've also released additional like tank platoons, assault gun companies. It's quite a lot. I mean, they really are ramping up their releases each month. So no, that was cool. And then the other one, which I saw, which I posted up in the Facebook group because it just made me chuckle. but apparently it's doing really well. There's a new boat game that's arrived, and this is a game called Fjord Serpents, which is a Viking themed longship. So longship to longship combat. With this one, you actually have the crew, and you add them in, and you've got to like little 10mm figures on strips, and that you can then chuck onto the enemy boat and take it over. And I put up a post saying, "Oh, is this what you call the horny boat?"
Horny.
And then I can't remember who it was of his, but whoever it was who won the comment, no, it's the row your boat game. You win, but I thought that was quite interesting. I quite like the idea of taking figures off and putting them in the enemy boat as you take them over. I thought that's quite fun, and there's little slots for them to fit into. But that's on Kickstarter if anyone's interested. It looks like they have a wind dial, Dom.
Awesome!
Oh yes.
So we discussed that the other day. But yeah, so that's on Kickstarter, and I'm sure it's got all sorts of stretch goals and stuff as well. But anyway, there you go. So that was my.
Alex is declining the opportunity to review the figures. They're too big for his delicate taste. He only does 15mm. You know that. Awesome. I do like that Viking game. You'll be all in on that one, Ken, won't you?
Yeah.
You do love a Viking, I know.
He's watching Vikings.
You could channel your inner Hagar.
He's watching it. Oh, you can. You're watching Vikings and you're watching The Last Kingdom because we looked at you showed me on Netflix that
I can neither confirm nor deny these accusations.
He's not watching them very fast. I'd just like to add. He's like watched one episode of The Last Kingdom and 3 episodes of Vikings, but he's getting there.
That's good. We'll have him on a Viking by the time he's sold his army. Be perfect. What else? I saw. Just trying to find it now. The Perrys.
Yeah,
our friend the Perrys. A whole load of Saxon guns.
Shit.
They've oh, no, they're not that bad. They're pretty good actually. Saxon guns they've done. Look at them.
Yes. That's so cool.
Awesome.
I love an artillery piece that's been loaded. I just think that's one of the best sort of poses to have. It's just because it looks a little. I don't know. I just prefer them.
I love that guy with he's sort of astride the cannon, isn't it? If that went off, he'd be in real trouble.
He's got hold of the rope, and he's got hold of the.
Yeah.
So
he looks like it as well, and he's like, oh, look at the size of my. Yeah.
Cannon.
So there's that. And there's also, I think they also did some Brunswick figures as well at the same time. So really cool. Still churning out the beautiful figures. And talking about beautiful figures, the next piano Kickstarter starts on the 28th of November. Put that in your diaries. So that's Bavarians, Tyroleans, and Austrians.
See, he's a good example. He releases them as STLs, Ken, and produces them in metal.
He does.
So he's killing both sides. So he's basically getting both markets. And he's a small guy. He's a small creator, but he does it that way because he knows that people are going to buy metal. So I think that's a really cool.
The Lederhosen game. I love it. So yes, I'm trying to resist that. I don't need any of them, but when's that ever stopped me?
I'm actually considering that one.
Are you?
Yeah, because I haven't. As we discussed, I'm not a big. I have trouble with Shakos and bayonets, and it's a personal thing. I can't. For the type of Napoleonic warfare I want to play in games, I don't think Shakos and bayonets fits it very well for the size of the game. However, for the Tyrolean uprising, where you've got like partisans or obviously when you have partisans in the peninsula as well, I think it would work. But where you've got guys throwing rocks off of mountains at advancing Bavarian troops, and then you've got like these mad charges with guys in Lederhosen, I'm totally up for that. I think that's a great thing, and I think that it would be good for that level of game or sharp practice. Absolutely.
Do you know what? You're selling it to me too. I think that would be great fun. Oh God!
Buy the STLs and I'll print them for you, Dom.
All right, mate. Okay, you're done. Victrix have got some more of their 12mm. They bring out the Russian infantry, which look very, very good. You get a hell of a lot of them. 172 figures. Heavy weapons. I think it's 172. 174. There you go.
Even more, isn't it?
Look at that. You get all those support weapons and the infantry in themselves. I mean, amazing. Really, really
But they're not as good as my little 6mm Bowman. Yee.
Okay. He's been sniffing those 3D printing fumes again, hasn't he? Look at him. And I've already talked about Saga. So anything else you guys have seen? Anything you missed?
Not really. It's been a fair. I wouldn't say it's been a slow week, but it's been. I don't know. I'm sure in the chat there's something we've forgotten. We always have.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything Gaming's work.
They did loads of reveals of the new World Eaters. There was one model. There was one model I quite liked actually, which was effectively a Dishonored Space Marine that's had all of his armor removed and given like basically it looks a bit like Master Blaster from Mad Max, but he's got like the plugs in his arm. So I quite like that. I thought that was very good. Oh yeah, Friends of Joe, the Bloody Miniatures new releases are out. The Scots.
Yeah, they're up for sale, aren't they now? So they're actually people are getting them delivered. Yeah, I didn't buy any. I did not buy any.
Bloody hell, Tom.
I know. I've got all the ECWs I need. I really do not need anymore, honestly. The other big piece of news is we're going to have some awards this year, aren't we?
We are.
Do some awards.
We are indeed, yes.
We're going to do the Crackpots. The Crackpot Awards. So we thought it'd be fun to do some awards for 2022. So we're going to do a little sort of it's up to you lot to decide what wins. So we've got a whole load of categories around everything from the best figures launched this year, your favorite Napoleonic range, the best rule system, best customer service, that kind of stuff. So we're going to put a survey up on the Facebook page and we'll put it out on our channels as well, I guess, through our posts. That's probably the easiest way for those who aren't on Facebook. And for the next 2 weeks, voting on what you think are the best things that happened this year in 2022.
And then we can have a big argument.
And then we can have a big row about it and say you're all wrong.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
So we're also going to do our own little category as well, which will just be for us to vote on, which is around the best contributor we've had this year.
Yes.
As from you, the dear audience out there. So the Crackpots will go live tomorrow at 12 o'clock UK time. So I will send around the link and everything else later on, and you can go on there and make your votes. We've tried to fill it in as much as we can, but there's probably things we've missed. So there's always a category of other in every section where you can add in. It's particularly lean around the best fantasy and sci-fi figures because I have no idea what to do in there. So fill your boots there, boys. So anyway, that's going to be fun. A bit of fun for us to do for the end of the year. So look forward to seeing what people have to say about their favorite range and who does the best customer service and that kind of stuff for the year. So, and at some point we'll do another one of those surveys, won't we, Martin? That we did.
We did that in July. So it's usually it'll be next year. It'll be next year, won't it? Before we do it, we'll get that. But we'll have to. What was the other one we haven't done for a while?
Yellow card.
Best 3D printer release.
That wasn't even me.
See, this is the thing. Like everyone's talking about.
They're all out. Look, they're all going now. Look,
windiest boat game of the year.
Oh dear, no, hang on. Red stuff. Western equals fantasy. All yellow cards for you lot, for goodness sake. Yeah. Well, we'll see what people have to. I think it'd be interesting to see what people think, and also it always brings up rule systems and things that I've never heard of, which would be really interesting to investigate. So, all right, we're crikey, we're coming towards the latter half of the show. So let's get back into some of the comments people had around technology, because I think we touched on most of it, but I think some of them. I know it's good. Somebody was talking about. Here we go. CC Audi was talking about Little Wars used flashing artillery smoke and that kind of thing. You could buy Warlords do them, don't they? Sort of little volley fire lights that you can put under your things, under some smoke and put in front of your lines to simulate when you've been firing. James says effects on the table can be amazing. Look at Blinky, he does some glowing lights and stuff like that. Do you need them for the game?
No,
I think
they just look
you
cool.
don't, but it just looks good.
There we go. I agree. I think they're great fun. I must admit, I have looked a few times at those flashing lights that Warlords do for the volleys, just because I think just would look really cool, wouldn't it?
I made some for smoke markers.
Did you?
I got some of those battery powered tea lights.
Yes, I've got some of those.
Yeah.
In the big with a big explosion kind of thing. Yeah, I use them for that.
Yeah.
And that works quite well.
Weddings is the place to go. There's a lot of those at weddings. You can go minesweeping at the end of the night to go and collect them.
There won't be any at my wedding.
Of course, there'll be nothing free at your wedding. I know that.
Yeah, you're getting it. You've even got to pay an entry fee. That's all right, isn't it?
He's not joking.
What?
Oh God!
No, I am, Joe. Yeah, no, I am. I've got a pot though that my mum bought me that we're going to stick literally as it comes through the door. I'm going to have a big sign above it saying, "Dom, put your money here." It says wedding funds.
I thought that's just where you help yourself to the money for the fact you've come. I think that's it. You need to be paid to arrive.
Oh, Dom, you will get a free ale on arrival, Dom.
Oh, will I? That's very nice. Just me. Very nice.
Yeah, but then you get a bottle of wine each on the table.
Each
person.
Each table or each person.
There's 2 bottles of wine on each table for 6 people.
Right. So I was about to say, you haven't bought like 50 bottles of wine, have you, for each person? Here's a goodie bag. Here's a cork and a cork. Yeah, here's a bottle opener and a corkscrew.
Can we get some weird beer for Steve?
Yeah, they sell weird beer.
Oh, nice.
But no, because I went to him. What he means is they sell ale, because he doesn't really drink ale, so he just counts that as weird beer, right, Ken?
That's not weird beer.
That's not weird beer.
What was that one you were drinking this week, Steve? There was something about death or life. Life. Or something.
I had 2. I had one was Life and Death, both by vocation. One was called Life and Death. I've had that before. It's really nice. The second one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a double IPA. It was 8%. It was just literally like such a nice like grapefruit, a grapefruit beer. It was lovely. Really very, very nice.
Grapefruit beer doesn't sound too bad.
Actually, I was being normal on Saturday. I had a couple of cans of Amstel on Saturday as well.
Oh yeah, and I just want to point out, I wasn't drinking Carling. I didn't have a Carling at the show. It was some Spanish thing. I was going to drink a Corona. They didn't have no lime.
Didn't have lime. You wouldn't do it.
Fucking Carling.
Robin, I think that the winner for me this year has got to be Juice Forsyth. That's just the best named beer of this year so far.
That's just, you can't get better that name, that's for sure. You definitely can't. Awesome. Alex was pointing out there, someone had an IABSM. What's that?
I ain't been shot, Mum.
That's it. Via Discord, where the players could only see the figures they could see. Didn't get to play it. That'd be quite fun.
That'd be quite interesting, that.
Oh, I think, yeah, I like that kind of thing. I think the 0200 would work really well with something like that as well, wouldn't it?
Martin, do you think it'd work really good in the dark?
Neither confirm nor deny. Who was I talking about? I was talking to someone else about that. I remember. Yeah, sorry, I can't even talk about it, can I? Dom knows who I was talking to last week about it. I thought it was hilarious.
Don't go there. Oh dear God! Right, I think we've done enough of that. Let's do some viewers' pictures, shall we? While we're here, because there was some absolutely amazing stuff that people were putting up on the Facebook page. As ever, if you're not a member of the Facebook community, please join it. Just click the button and answer the 3 questions. They're only there just to stop the spammers, and I think so far, touchwood, we seem to have avoided them largely, so that's good. I don't know how many we're up to now, 800 and something. 800 and lot. So yeah, please join along. And if you're not a member of the community, then you can always email any pictures along to us at the email address in the description underneath, because we love to see everyone's work. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. And as somebody new joined the other day, said it's lovely. He gets green with envy just when he sees all the pictures, but it's brilliant to see all the stuff people are doing. So Corey, he's showing off his 1 to 16th
fantastic
1 to 16th scale 3D printed
cool.
soldier. I mean, that is just
so
awesome,
good.
isn't it?
You know what, that you can almost feel the material on that uniform, the way that's painted. It just looks so tactile.
It's good, isn't it?
Fantastic work, Corey.
Superb, isn't it? Jeremy showing off his.
Yes, he emailed that in, didn't he?
Yeah, that looks lovely. Really,
US
really
Marine.
nice. US Marines. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really, really cool.
Dan, I have no idea what's going on here.
They are
Squigs.
fancy. What are they? Squigs, yeah.
Squigs.
Yeah.
Just weird. Just weird shit. But
I'll give you that, Tom. I'll give you that. They are weird shit. I'll give you that.
Jesus. Getting back to something more refined. Ian and his Percy.
Very nice.
Faction.
Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Very nice indeed. He's been busy on them. Really good. Which reminds me, let's get on to some more War of the Roses stuff. Jonathan, he's a new member of the Facebook page.
Wow.
And look at that Alexander figure.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Leopard print.
Yeah,
I do like
brilliant.
Alexander.
I've got that
so
figure, and I cannot. I keep looking at people who've done those. I suppose it's a cheetah print, isn't it? But I think I can't do that. That just looks so nice.
Did you say painted this?
Jonathan,
I will give you £5 whole to send that to me. A £5 note, sir.
A whole British £5.
Never let it be said that this podcast is made up of cheapskates.
I was going to say, doesn't that just sound really insulting?
He's just
it's
insulted poor Jonathan.
It's amazing.
It looks amazing.
Actually, to be fair though, for Ken to offer money to anybody rather than trying to sell something to you is quite extraordinary. Really, it just shows how good that is.
There's no trade there. It's just a straight up cash offer.
Cash for figure offer. Blimey.
That was lovely, wasn't it?
Very nice. Very nice. Joshua, and this is 15mm shed. I love that. That's great. It just cries out for some bloke to be in there whittling something. I just love it.
Whittling.
Yeah, whittling. Yeah, that's what I said. Whittling. I didn't say anything else.
No, I didn't say
it. Warren and his 20mm Joffel points for his chain of command, British Army.
Nice.
They look awesome, don't they? Really good. Fraser, VK.
Ooh, lovely.
I'm sure we'll see them in a video soon, but these are his latest Spanish militia.
They are very cool.
Which are eagle miniatures, and they look really good. Really good.
I do get jealous of him.
He does some lovely paint jobs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Tony.
Ooh, nice.
Hey,
that white is
Saruman.
fantastic.
That is very cool.
Yeah, that is good.
Sorry, I've just noticed that is Robin's comment. Is it Ken?
I just saw that
out? Stop clicking. Get off the fiber out. The sex bot suddenly turned up.
I don't think Ken and sex bots are connected. Honestly, really, I hope not.
No.
Tony, and this is his British 70-year
nice.
war figures.
Nice.
He showed a whole range of them, but I particularly like these grenadiers. I think they look awesome. It's a period. Somebody was playing a big, reasonably big 7-year war down at the club last Friday, and it just looks so good. But the thought of all that lace. Oh,
Dom, everything looks good to you, my friend.
I know. Doesn't mean I'll play it.
I was going to say, it's not just me then. You'll see figures from a period you don't really know about, don't really game. And you start thinking, well, that'd look really good on the tabletop. That'd look great. I'd be like, no, I've got to stop it. You just have one of those mad moments where you start planning. Unlike Dom, though, within 2 weeks, he's got an army
No,
painted up for them. So
there are periods like that sort of period, the Mulberrian War, that sort of thing, which I love, and I'm really interested in it as a period, but I would never game it. I just would never buy the figures for it. Well, I'd game it. I have gamed it with other people's figures, but I would genuinely never buy them because I just know I'd go absolutely stir crazy trying to paint those sort of figures. They're just so detailed. Just no. Just no. Just
No.
Sometimes you just have to go no. And
say no.
Just say no.
I don't think we can. I really don't think we can.
Talking about say no. Here's some white dust on the base of a figure.
They are
Martin, you'll
awesome.
appreciate that. This is Stevens
Towson.
Towson figures. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I really like those. They do look cold. They do look cold.
Ow,
don't they?
shit. Note to self, don't use sharp knife against stomach.
And Ken has just committed seppuku live on the.
I thought it was going to pop.
Yeah.
Oh my
Bollocks.
goodness.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
I don't think I'm bleeding.
Oh God.
Oh God! Quick, let's put something else up. Miller.
No, I'm not. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Oh, thank God
Just
for that.
grazed.
Miller's. This is. I think he was given these figures at CrackCon by somebody.
Yeah, I
forget
really
now.
like that.
So he's painted it up as a
Yeah.
little sort of stand, which is
Waving
brilliant.
off to war.
Off the wall with his pike. Brilliant.
What else would it be if it was Miller? It'd have to be a pike, wouldn't
Absolutely.
it?
Mitchell was showing off his Saga game on the Facebook. So this is on a snowy field. It was Danes against Vikings, wasn't it? I think. If I
Yeah.
remember rightly. Looked
That
really
looked very
good.
cool.
I have to say, I'm
Looks
sort of
really nice.
itching for another game of Saga. I really am.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Don't know why.
You go through phases of that, Dom. I've noticed.
I do.
With Saga.
I haven't played Saga
You're-
for about 2.5 years, to be fair.
No,
But,
I remember you were kind of on it when I first met you.
yeah,
And
I
then
like
then
the
it died
system.
off.
I think it's a really clever game. I just find it gives me a headache on a Friday night sometimes if I've had a busy day at work because it just like you have to think. And I don't
Yeah.
really want to think too much when I go down to play games.
You just want to roll.
I just want to roll dice and measure things incorrectly. Don says, sex bots and a host eviscerating himself. This is why I love this stream. There you go. So, yeah, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, please. Because you'll get more of this stupidity. What else we got here? Paul.
Oh, yes.
Swamp.
Oh yeah, man, I saw this. This was well cool.
Amazing figure.
Do you know what I love about that? It looks like the cover from like a 1970s prog rock band.
Yep.
It does.
It's a woodland. She's like woodland elf, isn't she, or something? I think.
Queen
What
of the
else was
Swamp, apparently.
Oh,
I think
Queen
she's
of the-
cold.
She's probably
Yeah,
very
just a bit.
cold. Yeah.
That's so cool, though.
It's a weird thing to say, but I do like the bull reeds. I think they just look awesome. Amazing.
Nice
Really
ball
nice.
reads, yeah.
Nice bull reeds.
But well,
yeah.
the effect and the actual base is nice, isn't it? The
Yeah,
gloss.
that mirror glossy effect. Very cool.
Well, you might have used some of that UV resin stuff.
Yeah,
You
I'd
know,
imagine so.
the bottle stuff.
Robin showing off his work in progress of these Bavarians.
Yeah, these are his
Jeez,
skirmish,
they do look
his skirmish
Yeah, lovely.
bases.
Yeah.
Is that a War Bases wagon that he's cut up there?
I believe that is. I think he has a few.
Very nice indeed. And then I saved this one especially for you, Martin. Richard's French windy boat game fleet.
I think they look fantastic. I have a problem with how they look. I just have no desire to play the game. I just want it, everyone else's. And then when you told me there's a bloody dial to spin, that kind of like set me
You
off a little bit more. I think it's
very sad.
fantastic work. I'm
It's
sad
so-
about it. I just
In.
well, I
It's
just
like,
said
what? You have to rely on real wind? No.
I don't think you
Yeah,
have to
that's-
rely on real wind. I don't think someone goes and gets a fan to blow your models across the board.
I don't know, man. That's technology. That's technology in a board.
You know,
in a
It
game,
wasn't
innit?
now, but I did start talking about going and getting a wind dial for Games of Wars of Roses, and if it's blowing in your way, your arrows go further, and the enemy arrows don't go as far. Just to, I was being a bit
I
facetious.
remember this conversation. It went on for quite a long time. He got very worked up about this wind thing, didn't he?
He wasn't very happy.
I'm very happy.
It's a-
Just
the basis of the windy boat game is the wind. If you don't have the wind, you're in trouble. Well, I don't say that very often. Yorkshire says he must have stumbled on a snuff movie. I'm sure I just saw somebody stab themselves. Yeah, they did. And if you subscribe and pay extra money, we'll make sure Kane really stabs himself probably hard. Yeah, we will.
Jesus,
Strange.
You should have seen me earlier. I was using a bloody. what they called? What's the hand tool? The multi-tool. Basically, I was using a multi-tool, a saw blade on the end. I was about that far away from my fingers, going. So that would have been interesting. So yes, trying to cut some plywood. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez. Yeah.
Maybe we won't watch this in future. Good stuff. So yeah, some beautiful works. Thank you very much for everyone sharing on the Facebook. As I say, we don't show everything because we can't, but go along and join the Facebook page if you haven't already done so, and put up your work and see what you're going. And we do like to see games as well, because games are always really good to see as well.
Games are the best.
Games are what we're all for. So let me go back. I think we covered off pretty much everything there was to talk about in terms of technology. Was there anything that you think, kind of you just would love to have to help you in your gaming process? What about you, Ken? If there was one thing, and not 3D printing, we're not allowing that. If there was something that someone could invent,
well, it's already been invented, but I'd like it to be adapted more. Virtual reality, obviously, because everyone lives quite far away from each other. Good virtual reality that we can all jump in and play the same game together. I quite like the idea of that. I think it would work well. You'd hire out. I don't know. Say you'd hire out a game. We hire out a game of Bolt Action, for example, for like £1 for like 3 or 4 hours, and all 4 of us can log into the room, and we're all there, like in our living rooms, obviously, but we can't all meet up. But we actually just have a game around the table. We can all sit down at the table and we can all play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. A couple of years back, I broke a VR camera at one of these VR cafes. It had trouble with my height, and the whole thing just like short circuited.
Not to be used for tall people.
It couldn't work out who or where I was. And so it was just they gave me a refund actually because it wouldn't work properly, so I got a refund off them.
I love it. Oh god, it's all gone whizzing through again. Somebody was just saying, isn't that just Tabletop Simulator?
You can, but it's a bit different when you're actually there in person, walking around the table yourself. You get the virtual experience of physically walking around the table and looking at the models up close and stuff like that. Like I've played it in VR, so I've had my living room when I've been downstairs. I've set a table up, and I can get real up close with the models and have a good look at them, and like you would at a table. Yeah. But it's just one of them where you can do exactly the same as you would at a club with your friends, stand up, socially interact, but you can't all meet up because you live on the other side of the world and stuff like that.
No, I don't disagree. I found Tabletop Simulator a bit frustrating because every time you did anything, it seemed like the table turned over and all the figures went everywhere.
And when you like it, Dom, that you just be able to pick up a model with your hand, because you can do that. You don't need to use a controller. You can get gloves where you wear them and it does your fingers, and you just pick the model up and move it.
But then you wouldn't need real figures, would you? You go and just having computerized figures again. So then you're moving away from your.
I think it wouldn't replace. Yeah, it wouldn't replace that for me. I just mean like if I couldn't meet up with people, like people I can't physically meet up with, that people are on the other side of the world. That sort of thing.
Yeah. What about you, Martin? Is there anything technology-wise you think you'd love, or is it just all going to detract from the game? For wargaming, particularly historical gaming. If you could play a game of, I don't know, War of the Roses or something, and there was just something you think, if I could just do that, that would make life so much easier.
I guess
not have Richard III charge at the Battle of Bosworth and kill himself? Get himself killed?
That'd be quite good. They just killed him in another way. I don't really know. I guess it'd be quite nice. I mean, I suppose it's quite hard because, of course, campaigns are individual to each game or each person that makes them. But some kind of campaign tracker would be cool. You can get them for RPGs. You can get generic ones. But I'm not really, because it's not that hard. I don't know. I don't really know. Better transfers for livery.
Oh God, yeah! If you could get it just to fit perfectly on a particular figure,
You'd be a millionaire.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, something like that, or some way that you could just like almost just minusculely laser etch them onto a model, with the laser etcher I keep here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really think there is. I think technology has its uses, but I guess apart from the sort of figure sculpting and figure printing and stuff, other than that, for my actual games, not really. Everything I want, I've got.
So let's take this slightly differently. And so there was a thing a while back about, oh God, what was that company that we designed all our Christmas figures for last year?
Hero Forge.
Hero Forge, and they're doing supposedly pre-painted figures.
Yes,
that came out.
Yeah.
So, if you could get, I know the answer from you lot, but if you were to get all your armies and you could just say, right, I want Percy's faction, and I'm just going to
be so happy.
Just print it all out, and it'd all come to you perfectly how you want it to be, with the livery all done on them, the sort of composition of the troops you had. Would you be happy? Or would that detract from everything?
No, because it will never be how I want it to be.
That's not going to happen. I'd be happy.
I would too. Yeah. What about you, Steve? Not a Percy one, obviously, but if,
No, absolutely. The thought of pre-painted fit, I know, owning something that somebody else has got, so somebody else could have exactly the same pre-painted army.
Mm-hmm.
That's just anathema to me. I just couldn't. I honestly could not deal with it. It would send me funny.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, I like to mix them in with my basing and the weathering and get all the
you could do that on top, couldn't you? Because if the figures you've got the base figures, nothing stop you weathering them up and basing them up in a different way.
No.
No.
You can tell who the ones who want to do the modelling and the painting.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think that's the interesting bit, isn't it?
It'd be like getting a pot. It'd be like buying a pot noodle pre-made. It just wouldn't be the same.
Perfect.
I guess maybe I'd stretch to pre-primed, maybe, but then I prime in so many different colours.
Yeah, same.
So Ken, you'd be like me. You just, if somebody could say, you could plug in and say, go to the Perry website and say, I want to buy. I don't know, 16 ACW Union.
You can, can't you? They sell those pre-painted figures,
and they're all pre-painted and ready to go. Do they?
They sell pre-painted figures on their website. They do.
Yeah, not many.
Not many though.
No, because this harks back to when we were talking about 3D printing the other week, and I said when it comes to like kit bashing, I would lose that enjoyment because rather than just saying, all right, I need a left arm that's in a certain position to go to this build.
Yeah.
I can just print one. Where's the fun in that? Where's the digging through the mountains of plastic under here? Where's whooping in joy when you finally find that arm combination that works? That would totally
swearing when you lose.
Yes.
I genuinely wouldn't care. I wouldn't care less if somebody gave me exactly the figure I wanted and it was painted very nicely, posed the right way. I don't care whether I did it or not.
What the fuck is that? Mark, what have you done with these Lord of the Rings things?
I only touched one of your Lord of the Rings miniatures, not like inappropriately or nothing. I just kind of like moved it like a little bit with something else.
Yeah, Robin says, I genuinely think I'd rather not game than to use pre-painted figures that are identical to somebody else's.
Absolutely. I just couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
there's the Ken's Yorkshire Ken's Zen diagram of gaming again, isn't it? It's whether you're a painter, a modeler, a gamer, or what was the other one? I forget now. Historian, isn't it?
If I get to paint, model, and game, it's not really something that debilitates my gaming. So,
for me, it just saves time with having pre-painted minis
because you're so busy with your no kids and like everything else.
Trains.
You can tell that you don't have any real busyness in your life. You wait. I can't wait. This whole thing, like, I'm just gonna find a code to crack it. Yeah, that time is precious, my friend.
Right. Interesting comment from James there, because X-wing ships are pre-painted, and I use them. I used to weather some of mine, and where I had identical B-wings, I used to paint new patterns on them. So I have in the past painted X-wing ships. So yeah, they are nice though. It's
not really. Yeah, I was going to say it's not very realistic, Steve. Weathering the X-wing in space. Is there dirt in space?
You get there's space dust and laser burns, and they fly in atmosphere and they get dirty on.
I'm joking, Martin. I'm joking.
No, I know you are, but it's lost. I'm just gonna. It's just. But
it's not something that it's not something that I did much. So it was just normally to differentiate between like B-wings or I think I did some weathering to my Millennium Falcon. But apart from that, didn't really do a lot. I know some people used to go completely mental and really customize their X-wing ships, which really good.
We chop any of them up, Steve? Did you ever chop any of them up?
No.
No.
I can remember now. No, the most I did was I used to put some Norn oil just to increase the weathering, and again with the B-wings added different patterns so they look a bit different from the rest of the squadron. But apart from that, that was the beauty about X-wing, is they were literally straight out the box on the table. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, Wings of Glory is another one Alex pointed out. The Wings of Glory planes are
they're pre-painted.
They come like
cost
that.
An arm and a bloody arm and a leg.
They do now.
I love that. I love
that. Didn't you flog yours for a small fortune?
I did. I sold loads of them for a lot of money, which was great because I wasn't using it, and I only had one side as well, so I couldn't even use them for anybody else. So, I think actually Louis asked the question: what about rank and file figures? So, if you could just buy, no. So you could get all your
why would you want to paint
Prussian Napoleonic figures, and then you just painted the commanders yourself? How about that?
Is Louis talking about Landwehr by any chance?
Yeah, possibly.
I think he might be. He loves the Landwehr,
or thousands of Zulus. Oh my god!
Yeah, those Landwehr are in the top 5 of the single most boring things I've ever painted in my entire life.
And you see, that's the point, though, Steve. So if you could buy them all pre-painted, and you just had to base them or and then paint up a few command figures to go with them, wouldn't that be a boon?
No, because it wouldn't be my army. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't be something that I'd constructed through my own fair hands. Or the dancing magic hands, as people have started calling them on my YouTube channel.
The magic hands.
You know what? This is a weird thing talking about my hands. I genuinely didn't put out a video out last week because I cut my hand.
Yeah,
and it looked terrible. I didn't want anyone to see a wounded hand while I'm showing figures. So I've literally, that's why I've not made a video last week, because of a wounded hand.
Ken's just stabbed himself in the stomach. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've been well productive tonight. I finished painting the dwarf guy. I've painted a 6mm tent. I've painted 2, 4, 6, 7 6mm archers. And what is it? A siege tower, Martin? You'll know that. That's a siege tower, isn't it?
Siege tower, yeah.
Yeah. Like little siege tower.
I can see a piece of Lego. I don't know what. I love it how like you're trying to show like a 6mm miniature. Yes, it is.
Yeah, siege tower. I've actually been pretty productive.
What's that for?
Hail Caesar.
All right.
100 Years War.
Okay. Right. Yeah, awesome. What about you, Steve? What you been working on?
Quite productive. I've finished, well, not finished, but it's a based unit of knights. Mud applies. Got to wait for that to dry overnight. Then I'll add the clump foliage and the basing tomorrow. And I've built another partisan maquis for my French partisans using bits from the US Airborne box. Tell you what,
you got any Russians, Steve? You got like any Russian arms?
No,
like no. That's a shame.
I'm trying to just equip them with sort of British or American weapons. So like they've had them airdropped into them.
Yeah.
So I'm using because on the actual sprue you get rifles, you get Sten guns, MP40s. So really good. And one guy's got a mouse, a pistol, looks brilliant. But these just work well because they're just in such they work well because of the poses. I can't wait to get these painted up. Actually,
you know what you could use. Do you remember I don't know if you changed the arms on them. Did you change the arms on your French infantry, your metals?
I did. I've cut some arms off, my friend.
Yeah, I was going to say you might be able to use some of their rifles, the French ones.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to find my spares for my plastic gunfighters from Dead Man's Hand.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think I've got a couple of spare double barrel shotguns that might work on there.
Oh nice. Yeah, 100%. That'd be well good.
So
yeah,
awesome.
That's going to be.
What
That's
about
going
you,
to be
Martin? What have you been up to?
What was it?
Tonight?
I have stuck together the final 8 blackguards to finish my large unit, and then I spent the rest of the night painting another Reconquer miniature, who is going to be my Robert Curtos commander. And I've been working on. If you ever bought that scale 75 white, I've just been working because he's so Macross is so good at sculpting cloaks and folds, and I've got about 5 different layers of white on this thing.
Nice.
I'm working up. It's lovely. It's come out. Those paints are lovely. I'm getting on with them really well.
They are good paints. I do like the scale 75s. I'm working on a windy boat.
Hey!
What the hell? Oh,
it's a medieval cog from Sarissa. I've got a
nice.
funny feeling I've put some of the ribs on the wrong way around.
What's that for?
I just thought it'd be good in a skirmish game.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
I just found it in the pile of opportunity, and I thought I'd pull it apart.
Well, I tell you what, we'll make a couple more, and then we'll do the Siege of London, where they sailed down the Thames and bombarded it.
That's a good idea.
There we go.
I could also put Henry what's it on it, and have his men throw him off it. That'd be great.
Yes.
But when you mentioned cogs, always remind me. I was reading that 100 Years War book, and it's about the English using the cogs as like fighting ships. And there was a passage where this French guy, he said they boarded his ship and he surrendered, so they immediately beheaded him, as you do. And then his second in command also surrendered, so they hung him.
He was
French. We're good. Like, you know what happened to the person who shot Richard de Lionheart, right? Like, so he shot Richard Lionheart. He died of gangrene after they took the crossbow bolt out, or he got left in. I can't quite remember. Anyway, because they took the castle, Richard, before he died, was he like a chef's assistant or something? He was like a boy, weren't he? And they brought it to him, and he basically made his men. He gave him like some gold and made his men promise. He was like, "No, the man who killed me shall not die." Richard then died. His men took the gold and then flayed the boy alive.
There we go. That's the way to go. Anyway.
Literally, you couldn't trust anyone in those days at all.
You couldn't.
Sociopath to a man.
You couldn't trust anybody as far as you could flay them. There you go. Anyway, that's it. We're 3 minutes over. 3 minutes overtime. God, we can't afford Ken's rates. This is ridiculous.
No, it's already 640 quid.
Jesus Christ. Who's next week? I've forgotten. Who's up next week?
It's Steve.
Me. So next week is going to be sort of a painting clinic, but more focused towards 2 things: basing and the things that people don't like about painting and hobbying. Like a therapy session.
All of it.
Come to one to Steve.
I was amazed at how many people in that thread were like, "I hate basing.
Yeah, I know.
I hate basing."
Well, I was reading it while I was basing, going.
I think think the base is the bit actually I detest the least. Actually, I think it's great fun.
No.
Base. There you go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thanks, guys, for as ever for an interesting week. Thanks, Ken, for stabbing yourself. It's very entertaining.
All right, no worries.
Thanks everyone watching on the replay. We'll be back next week on Steve's channel as you're here. So stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hey everyone, bye.